The British rule over Kenya between 1901 and 1960 was characterized by unfair labor practices, structural racism, and forced resettlement based on the desires of those colonial settlers at the time. 1 century later, Kenyans are still reeling from the effects of colonization and ensuing clamor to end imperialism and white man rule that saw thousands of Kenyans killed and millions others driven out of their homes. Our reporter Abdiaziz Hashim retraces the timelines of the unfortunate events that would later shape the modern-day Kenya.
It all began in 1895 after the formation of the British East African Protectorate, comprising of Kenya, Uganda, and later Tanganyika. This was occasioned by the British settlers who came to Kenya in advance because of its resources and what was perceived a favorable climate. The initial plan was to educate the local masses on religion and civility. However, the objective morphed into something different. Kenya was colonized by the Great Britain between 1901 and 1960. This forced Kenyans in their millions at the time, who were farmers and herders, to move out of their homes and land to infertile land. Many of them worked on European-owned farms and plantations, which were branded the White Land title. The colonizers used a tactic as old as time: divide and rule. This created an unprecedented ethnic conflict between various groups in their divide and conquer campaign that led to the death of thousands of Kenyans. British rule in Kenya was characterized by unfair labor practices, structural racism, and forced resettlements based on the desires of the colonial settlers. However, some argue that their actions also led to the creation of schools, religion, and urbanization, but at what cost, some quarters ask. More than 70 years down the line, Queen Elizabeth, who oversaw the colonies of Great Britain, passed on, and it prompted a flood of condolences from around the world. But African leaders shared their painful memories of the brutality meted out to their forefathers, and the current generation still reeling from those effects close to a century later. Abdiaziz Hashim, KBC Channel 1.